Booch. We playing Booch ball. Booch. We playing Booch ball.
Hello and welcome back to Booch Ball, the only podcast in the continental United States talking kombucha and college sports. My name's Alex, joined as always by my lovely co-host Freed. Hey Freed, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. The only co-host in the continental United States, and maybe even further wide. I don't see anybody else in Europe, anybody in Australia, anybody on Uranus doing kombucha in college football.
What about Oceania?
Well, I feel like Australia's got a lot of kind of the type of people who would be into kombucha,
Yeah.
and they like a different type of football. So maybe there's a whole different type of kombucha.
They
in
play
football.
Australian rules down there. It's the same rules as America, but everything's done a little bit topsy-turvy, a bit backwards.
Hey, I'm Bluey. Oi, it's Bluey.
Bluey the dog. Freed is wearing a blue shirt for the podcast audience. And we are coming at you live on which day of Hanukkah is this, Freed?
Tuesday?
One of the crazy nights is today, I'm sure. So congratulations to all of you who celebrate. And congratulations and hello to the Boochies for making it into the Booch Ball season. That's right. We have entered into the postseason. And Freed, this will be our very first matchup in the 2023-24 BBC playoffs tonight.
That's right. You got to go deep, way back. Our first BBC playoffs was 3 years ago. This is season 4 of Booch Ball, season 4, year 4 of the PBC committee playoffs. We're about to get our 4th kombucha into the mix for potentially an ultimate Booch showdown. And this season, our 4 kombuchas are birds of a feather. We got 4 brew doctors in the BBC playoffs.
That's right. That's right. We do, Freed. But before we move on, Freed, I just wanted to check in with you real quick about some, just wanted to give you some updates on my life.
Please.
If you'll allow me. So we were talking off mic about you having some issues in your softball league. You guys got bounced out of the playoffs. Speaking of playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not good in pressure situations.
Well, Freed, what I am happy to report is that in this season of the Wednesday night Crown Heights intermediate/beginner level soccer, I am your new champion, baby.
Oh, you got a championship scarf?
We got a soccer scarf. That's the NYC Footy logo, which is a pigeon balancing on top of a soccer ball, which I think is a reference to Tottenham Hotspurs. We're the champs, as the scarf says, the NYC Footy champs.
That's a pretty sweet trophy. My softball league just gives out generic shitty t-shirts, and
well, my heart, my taxpayer dollars got to go towards something, Freed. And it's got like the subway map like on the thing. Pretty sweet. So I'll be wearing my NYC Footy scarf for the remainder of the show.
Love that for you.
Yeah. So I am a champion.
And a loser.
Oh my God, Jake Hennessy. He knows that how could he have possibly missed that I was doing Booch Ball? Long-time listener. First-time caller during Booch Ball. Anyways, so that's what I wanted to get you caught up to speed on, the fact that I am a soccer champion. After this is I think my first ever soccer championship in the history of my 30 years.
Dude, I have not won a recreational title and I can't tell you how long. I need it bad.
We lost in penalties in last season, so we got redemption. We completed an undefeated season. We went 7-0-1 with one tie. And the only game that we tied, I was not at the game.
You're the glue.
What does that
You're
tell
the
you?
glue.
What does that tell you? I am the glue guy. I am the glue guy. Do you know who needs a glue guy, Freed? Is the Miami Hurricanes basketball team. The McGuire family was in attendance this past weekend at the Barclays Center watching Miami get their shit kicked by Colorado, losing by like 30 points. It was embarrassing. There was more Canes fans there for sure than Colorado fans, but by the end of it, we all just bowed our heads and walked out in a shameful fashion. We also got our asses kicked by Kentucky. Freed, it's supposed to be basketball season, and we're supposed to be a basketball school. What's up with that?
I don't know, but it's still football season. We got one more game to play. Your Miami Hurricanes football team will be playing in the glorious Pinstripe Bowl December 28th. Yankee
That's
Stadium
right.
versus the Scarlet Rutgers Knights. Something that didn't quite come out right, but I think you get the gist.
The Scarlet Rutgers Knights, yeah. And the McGuire family will be in attendance at that game as well. So if there are any Boochies out there that are interested in joining us, please feel free to hit me up. But before we get into discussing Miami and everything like that, Freed, it is time for the first round of the BBC playoffs, where we have two Brew Doctor kombuchas going head to head. We've got a little mixed up and turned around as far as what the seeds are and who's who, but here's what I'm going to say for the record is that the Orange Oasis comes in as our 2 seed, Freed. Brew Doctor Orange Oasis. This was part of the variety pack that we got from Brew Doctor Rob, our Connect, who is essentially the founder of Brew Doctor, is what I took away.
Our Brew Doctor concierge.
What he does. Brew Doctor Rob, if you are listening, the raspberry limeade, can't find it anywhere. Also, Snickerdoodle. I was told that Whole Foods would have Snickerdoodle. I hate to bring it to you, Rob, but my Whole Foods does not have Snickerdoodle. It does not have the raspberry limeade or anything else. The only other Brew Doctor that it has is the ginger lemon Brew Doctor, which is sliding in somehow as our number 3 seed in a very controversial late entrance.
So we didn't actually officially score the ginger lemon this year. We both drank it on the episode with Rob, and as a courtesy to our kombucha guests, we never score up in their face. We save that internal. Right. But we both really enjoyed this kombucha, and we feel it deserved a spot in the top 4. And
yeah,
it's not necessarily the most deserving. We like to put the best 4 kombuchas in. So we did a little. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to talk about that. I know what you're thinking. We're going to talk about that FSU thing later, but we slid the ginger lemon in. And now ginger lemon has been replaced, supposedly, by Lemon Grove. You may recall we were drinking the Lemon Grove. Same thing. I don't know if these are old ones.
So we're just drinking the leftovers, essentially. And I think what's happening is that we both got the can ones. So the can ones, I think, are still called ginger lemon. I think maybe the cans last longer or something like that, or they're easier probably to ship around.
Did you get a 4-pack, or did you get?
I did get a 4-pack.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe in the 4-packs they still had so much stock, or for the 4-packs they kept them in the cans. But yeah, no sloth on the can, none of that new fancy stuff. We still have our
there's
Madden ratings though. So.
There's a hidden sloth that says "sip sip hooray."
Okay, but the bottles have more sloth. This doesn't have full sloth.
Right.
Pero-like, irregardless, we got 2 Brew Doctors. We got the Orange Oasis. We got the Lemon Ginger. We're having ourselves a Citrus Bowl.
That's true, Freed. All right, it's time for the first one. Let's start with the Ginger Lemon as the 3 seed.
We're both going to be pouring into glasses to equalize the playing field.
That's right, because we have one of them is in a can, one of them is in a bottle, and we want to make sure that that doesn't influence. I made myself a chicken sandwich because I've been getting rotisserie. Whenever I go to Whole Foods, I usually get and pay for a rotisserie chicken. And I chopped it up and I kind of had too much meat. So I made the sandwich, but then I didn't know what to do with the kind of scrap of chicken. So then I just went to the store to get my Booch and I came back. And then I just took 2 pieces of just like kind of like extra stray chicken that was just on the cutting board. And I just ate straight
There you have
chicken.
it, folks. Alex Elmo McGuire, too much meat.
Yeah, I guess so.
All
right, let's go ahead and get a sip of the Brew Doctor Ginger Lemon, which, as we all know, is the first ever kombucha I ever tried.
I'm so excited for this.
All right, here we go.
really tickled my nose going in, gingery, and I'm gonna tell you that hit the spot.
Yeah, it tasted about what I was expecting it to. It has the it's not. It doesn't have a as much of like a bite to it. It doesn't have like the tang. Like there's not like the lemon isn't like turned up.
Have you?
What I found this to taste like is kind of like if you wanted to drink a Sprite, but then you were like, no, Sprites are bad for me, too much sugar. And then you picked up one of these, it would like hit the same boxes that you were
Mhm.
kind of going for, but make you feel better about doing
Do you
it.
ever drink lemon ginger hot tea?
Yeah, yes, I do.
I would say that this is a very similar vibe to a lemon ginger hot tea, which I actually took to softball with me last night. Since we only
Mhm.
played one game because we lost in the semifinals, I brought most of it home, put it in the fridge, had it this morning as a lemon ginger iced tea. And honestly, not that far off. This one's just sweeter and tastes better.
All right. All right. Well, I like this one. This one's solid. This is what got me kind of interested in kombucha in the first place.
Good choice.
So off the top, you got a strong start, a nice little kickoff by the Brew Doctor, Ginger Lemon, aka Lemon Grove. It is now time for our second Booch. This is the Orange Oasis.
The Orange Oasis. And what did this used to be called? Because there was a different name in the past.
I have no idea. I thought this was a newer one. Or was this the Earl Grey?
Yes, Earl Grey. I was about to say, if you recall, this is that Earl Grey. This, to me, tastes like a Arnold Palmer
Right.
almost.
That's why I ended up liking this, though.
Earl
I wasn't
Grey.
expecting it. Do you see how full to the brim mine is? It's like spilling out of the top. It's so full. Is that happening with you?
No, I'm like halfway up the cap.
You see what's happening
I
with mine,
see
though?
that. You got a full meniscus up there.
Rob, what's going on with that? Is this going to taste weird now? All right, let's pour her out. Oh, we really have an opportunity to do this with the Brew Doctors. Well, let's take our drink and then we'll move on. Cheers, Fried.
Cheers.
The number 2 seed.
A lot fizzier for me, which I like.
This has a blood orange, lemon, and black tea is the base for this one. Yeah, this would talk about tea forward. This is real the black tea. You don't get a lot of like black tea ones, I feel
Yours
like.
says black tea. Mine says green tea and Earl Grey.
Yo, what? Blood orange, lemon, and black tea.
Oh, well, look at the ingredients. It says green tea, Earl Grey.
Oh, but Earl Grey is black tea.
Yeah. With oil of bergamot.
I gotta say, Fried, I really enjoy the Orange Oasis. I actually kind of like the Earl Grey name. I'm surprised that they got away from that, but I think they needed to convey that it has like a more citrus. And I think Earl Grey, when people hear it,
it sounds
they
boring.
think like,
if you don't know what Earl Grey is, it sounds very boring. I was always afraid to try Earl Grey because I figured it's lame, but it does have good flavor. And these are both really good kombuchas. I think kind of what you were getting at here, Alex, is the Orange Oasis has a little bit more meat on the bone, I would say, more flavorful than the lemon ginger. Yeah. It's less spritey and more, there's something here.
Yeah, it's balanced also. And it's not your typical flavor. Like it's carved out its own lane. So let's since we have this head-to-head matchup between two Brew Doctors, let's go ahead and check the Brew Doctor scores. By the way, Brew Doctor Rob, if you are listening, there's a branding opportunity for these. I think you guys call them tasting notes. I guess flavor profile is what you call it. But maybe there's something like Brew Doctory, like the doctor's report or something like that. Something where we can kind of like have fun with it.
Or why not just go ahead and call them Booch Ball ratings? Put them BBC committee.
That's interesting. Interesting thought. All right. So the Brew Doctor Ginger Lemon is 1-star fruity, 3-star spicy, 0-star floral, and 1-star herbal. So this is a spicy booch, according to them. I would say it's not that spicy. And then the Brew Doctor Orange Oasis, we have 3 for fruity, 0 for spicy, so not spicy at all, 2 for floral, 1 for herbal.
Yeah, I don't think 3 out of 4 spicy is fully accurate. I would have left it at probably 2 out of 4 because they could make it
What do
way
you think about it?
spicier.
This is like Seattle, Washington spicy,
Yeah,
okay? If you catch my drift.
yeah. They're not spicy boys. Spicy boys?
Yeah, and it's not gochujang. I'm just gonna leave it at that. We're talking about Seattle people. All right, cool. Well, this is a good kickoff. We've got 2 Booches that are, I think, this kind of proves that these guys are rightfully slotted, I think. So we will check back in with you later in the show and figure out who will be advancing on to the Booch Ball Committee final.
Yeah, I like this matchup here. Anything can happen. This is very reminiscent of the in real life Texas versus Washington, 2-3 seeds. Anything could happen. 2 heavy hitters. They deserve to be there. I'm excited to get after it.
And my cap says alive and well.
Oh, there's Otis.
Just like this Brew Doctor. The Brew Doctor brand.
All
right, Freed, we've told the good people what we're drinking. It is now time for the first official segment of Booch Ball, which is, as we all know, called What We're Thinking. Wait, it's the second segment.
Yeah, we already did what we're drinking, huh?
And Freed, it's now time that we've told everybody the first thing, which is what we're drinking. It's now time for part 2, which is, of course, what we're thinking.
What we're thinking.
Freed, what the fuck are we thinking, dude?
Well, man, we got some breaking news I'm going to break here in a few minutes. But before we break that.
Wait, we have breaking news, but before we get to that.
You want the breaking news right now?
You can't say we have breaking news and then not break the news.
I was going to save it for the transfer portal segment. It's nothing too exciting, but it's relatively breaking within the last 20 minutes. I mean, by the time folks listen to this, it won't be breaking anymore. So what's another 5 minutes going to do? Let's talk about the Pinstripe Bowl, man. You're going to go to the game. Did you go to the Pinstripe Bowl back in 2018 when we played?
Yes, when Miami
Wisconsin
got blown out by Wisconsin. That was one of the worst Miami football games I've ever seen live.
Watching bowl games has been pretty miserable for most of the last 5 years.
Sure.
We didn't have a bowl game. What, 2 years ago? We didn't have a bowl game because COVID outbreak. We were supposed to play in the Sun Bowl. And then last year we didn't have a bowl game because we didn't win 6 games.
We weren't eligible.
Yeah, So it's been a minute.
Yeah. The last game that I remember us winning was under Mark Richt, I believe.
Yeah, the 2016
Brad Kaya.
Yeah, the Cheez-It Bowl, the Camping World Bowl, whatever it was called back then.
Yeah. No, we lost the Cheez-It Bowl to like Oklahoma State.
That's right. That's right. I was at the Camping World Bowl back in 2016. That was fun. Amon Richards, David Njoku running wild.
Yeah. That's the one in like Gainesville or Orlando.
Yeah, that's the only bowl game we've won in about 15 years. So hopefully we're gonna change that. But talk to me about Yankee Stadium. I've heard it is an awful place to watch football.
Yeah, I remember my seat. I remember cold. It being, we kind of went into it being like scared, basically. Like I think that was wasn't that the year? I think we still had Malik Rozier as our quarterback at that time.
Right. That's right.
And it became pretty apparent. It was one of those classic games where like within like halfway through the first quarter, we were kind of like, all right, well, this one's obviously not gonna have, like, we were playing in December in the North. Wisconsin, I think, had like Jonathan Taylor and ran for like 400 yards. And yeah, that it was not great. I didn't no, I hated it. So, but it's like a novelty being at Yankee Stadium.
35-3 was the final score there. Jonathan Taylor had 205 yards.
Yep, that checks out.
Malik Rozier 5 for 12 with 3 picks.
Yeah, but I went with like a big crew, and we were just kind of like laughing about it, and we were all like drinking and stuff, and so I think we left like sometime end of the third quarter, I think, and scooted on right back to New York City. This game feels winnable though. Miami versus Rutgers.
That's right. So Greg Schiano, this is the best Rutgers team he's had in his second stint at Rutgers since he came back in 2020. It's the first time they've made a bowl game.
Right, but they're also 6-6.
Yeah, but I mean,
they play in the Big Ten, I guess. Like
they
also beat Temple this year, Freed.
Okay. Okay. Did they beat Temple by more than we beat Temple by? Because that should determine the winner.
36-7. That's about the same.
Pretty similar. But yeah,
And
so
they've
I
lost
mean,
4 straight, by the way. But they also had to play Iowa. Sorry, I was gonna say Ohio State, and then I saw that they lost to Iowa 22-0. What a game that must have been.
that's an Iowa game right there.
Lost to Penn State, lost to Maryland. Yeah, so they won a couple games in the season. Like, I can't even think of like what their biggest win was. Like, their biggest win was probably like over Northwestern at the beginning of the year or against Virginia Tech. But so like they haven't beaten anybody. And I feel like Miami usually gets a decent crowd in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Rutgers will definitely will pull some New Jersey over, but like Rutgers is like,
but yeah, we got a big fan base up in the Northeast that should somewhat turn out. I would say it's going to be about 60-40 Rutgers. Actually, I take that back. It's going to be about 50-30 and 20 who don't care.
yeah, and Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
So
Greg Schiano, let's talk about him a little bit more because he's a Miami
You really
guy.
want to talk about Greg Schiano before you get to your breaking news?
Yeah, dude. They can wait another 5
Who
minutes.
cares about Greg Schiano, dude?
Well, here's the thing.
He's irrelevant.
They're playing in the Pinstripe Bowl. He and Mario Cristobal coached together at the University of Miami, 1999 and 2000. Our buddy Greg was a defensive coordinator here back in the glory days. And Mario was on that staff as an offensive graduate assistant. So these are two guys who know each other well. I think they both are going to want to win this game. I don't think this is going to be a game where either
think
side.
they know each other well?
Yeah.
Like, do you think they're in touch?
Yeah, I do.
I guess they kind of like look alike, don't they? They're both kind of like stern, like kind of salt and pepper hair.
Yeah. I think two dudes who, were on the same coaching staff for 2 years who are now both Power 5 head coaches. They almost certainly stay in touch. And I think they're both going to want to win this game.
All
right, so breaking news.
Cristiano and Mario Cristobal could have a good like arms crossed and like looking stern at each other off. I think that they should do that at pre-game, just like go up to each other, be like
for the coin toss.
Yeah, just kind of.
Hey, Alex, dude, I'm trying to deliver some breaking news here.
Oh my God, breaking news! Freed, hold the phone. Wait a second. Hey, everybody, Freed, breaking news.
Hey, dog next door, check this out. Listen to this. Tyler Van Dyke has a destination.
Who?
Tyler Van Dyke.
TVD? I thought, according to our last episode, Tyler Van Dyke was still a member of the Miami Hurricanes. Are you telling me that he's now in the transfer portal?
He's not anymore. He is committed to the Wisconsin Badgers.
No! Dude, that's a perfect. I feel like I like predicted that. Like I was like, maybe I said Iowa. Like he was gonna go to. He's the perfect. He looks like he could have gone to Nebraska, Iowa.
He's a Midwestern guy.
He wouldn't have gone to Minnesota. That's too low down.
Midwestern
Yeah, Wisconsin is perfect. His like bright white skin with the red and it's gonna be cold, so then his skin's gonna get a little red too. He's gonna look great. He's gonna be good for Wisconsin.
It's not the Wisconsin of yore. They're trying to bring in a whole new offensive regime, and they want to spread the ball out, and they want him to do it. So we'll see how that goes. But he's not the only guy who has fled the Hurricanes through the transfer portal. Most of notably, at least in regards, that's a word. At least in regards to this bowl game. The people you're going to notice that aren't there is going to be backup middle linebacker Corey Flagg. He's not going to be there. You're going to see a lot more of the young guns, the true freshmen at linebacker are going to be playing.
Sure.
Wide receiver Colby Young in the transfer portal. That one was a bit of a surprise. That was the one I didn't see coming. I'm not shocked. Miami has a lot of talent to replace him next season coming in.
How tall is that talent, though?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's hard to replace that big body. They do still have Isaiah Horton, who was kind of Colby's backup throughout the year. He's 6'4". He caught some big passes, but Colby Young will leave a noticeable gap.
Why didn't they just have him play tight end? Like
he's not big enough.
Is he not? He's like 6. He's like the biggest guy on the field, I feel like, every time I see him play.
He's 6'5", but you can't just because you're tall doesn't mean you can play tight end. Look at Jaleel Skinner. Jaleel Skinner was a similar size but bigger and actually played tight end, and he couldn't see the field because he's not a good enough blocker. So he's also in the transfer
Well, he's
portal.
also competing against a 28-year-old, so he's got that.
Yeah. So speaking of Jaleel Skinner, he transferred. Not a surprise. Let's see. Those are kind of the big transfer portal folks that
Don
you'll
Chaney,
notice.
did you mention that?
Yeah, I mean, Don Chaney's gone. We wish him the best of luck, but Miami's got so many running backs. You won't notice that in the bowl game. You still got Parrish, A.J. Allen, and Mark Fletcher to tote the load.
So now that Tyler Van Dyke's gone, Freed, what does that mean for us? Who's going to be playing?
Well, after about a week or so of fear amongst
Wait
the
a
Miami
second. Are you
coaching
about to
staff
tell
and
me
fans-
some breaking news?
No, not that breaking. Not
Uh,
that breaking.
What's it
But,
called? You're telling us broken news.
Broken news. No, this is it has since
The
been
news has
broken.
already been broke.
I broke this news.
Right.
Right. No, I didn't broke it nothing. But here's the deal. Jakari Brown is going to play in this game. I think the coaching staff had to make a decision and had to kind of recruit him almost into staying and playing and not just jumping right into the transfer portal, because I think
So you can't play in your bowl game if you're in the transfer portal?
the folks who are declaring for the transfer portal are essentially saying we're out. You can jump into the transfer portal after the bowl game, but if you're hopping in the portal right now, you're not playing in the bowl game. Similarly, the folks who are declaring for the draft at this point are also out for the bowl game. So when you look at Miami, Leonard Taylor declared for the draft. That's a big hole in the middle. He really hasn't been that productive in his 3 years at Miami. I was actually surprised he declared this year because he could have potentially, he still might sneak into the first round of this draft because he's very
There's
skilled.
like potential. Yeah.
But I was looking at his numbers, and I mean, his freshman, sophomore, and junior numbers are all very similar and very mediocre. Not a whole lot of progression there. That was sad to see. But anyway, we wish him the best.
Would you say mediocre or average?
Not again.
We've had a long-standing debate about mediocre and average that we cut entirely from the last episode. But yeah, Leonard Taylor, always a guy that like you heard about a lot every offseason, and then like during the games, I feel like announcers like gave him a lot of shine.
Yeah.
But then by the end of the game, you'd be like, you know how sometimes announcers will be like, and again, like, and we're calling his name all night.
Are you talking shit about Jay Alter right now?
Me? No. Yeah, I guess so. But he's that like he was always a guy that he never like took over a game.
That's right.
Yeah.
He would flash 1 or 2 plays a game, and the rest he'd just kind of be there. But I'm not here to beat on LT. I mean, go get yours, man. We got some studs coming in the defensive tackle class, and we'll get to that if we have time. But noticeable in the bowl game for sure, and also next year for sure, are 2 stud safeties. James Williams has already declared. Cam Kitchens is widely expected to declare, but he hasn't officially yet, which leaves the door open to him playing in this game. However, you know what, man? With Cam's injury history, if I'm him, I don't want any – there's no reason for him to potentially risk getting hurt. You know, he was out for a few games with that scary neck injury early in the season. It seems like every game he's played since, he's been knocked out of play for at least the series.
Yeah.
So for Cam's sake, I really hope he doesn't play. I hope he goes and gets that second round pick that he deserves.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Also, offensive line, Matt Lee and Javion Cohen. That's our starting center, and our starting left guard are both declared. So we'll be okay. We got a deep offensive line, but those are 2 underclassmen who would have been nice to have next year, but I think they never expected them to be multi-year guys when they brought them in. So
yeah, for sure. And they both had awesome years.
Okay,
like that was one of the for sure bright spot of the whole year was the offensive line and Matt Lee.
And honestly, I don't expect there to be too much of a fall off against Rutgers. I don't think they have a dominating pass rush. I think you're going to slide in Matt McCoy to left guard, and you're going to slide in Ryan Rodriguez to center, and you're going to keep it rolling. I'm very, very excited to see what Curry Brown can do. I mean,
You've been asking for it all year long.
Yeah, that's right. And Coach Dawson has a whole month to kind of scheme this up, shape the offense to Ja'Curry, which is gonna have to look a lot different than it did with Tyler or with Emery. You want to see more designed running plays. You want to see some designed option, maybe even triple option with a pass component. There's a lot that could be done. If we come out and just throw screens all day, I'm going to lose a lot of respect and hope for Shannon Dawson.
All right. Are you calling him out?
I'm not calling him out, but I do want
Oh,
to see.
no, Freed. Break some news. Why don't you call him the fuck out?
All right, Shannon. Hey, dog, neighbor dog. Calling out Shannon Dawson. Show me what you got.
Whoa, this is a show me what you've got game.
Show me what you got when the motherfucking beat drops.
Oh my God. Let's play ball. Am I right?
Let's do
Shannon.
it. Nobody calls him Shannon Lives.
The Shan God. All right. Shan Wow. If he was good, we could start calling him Shan Wow. What do you think about that?
When he's good. When he's good at Yankee Stadium, we'll call him Shan.
We could have been calling him Shan Wow, but instead we've been calling him Daw, son. All right, Freed.
All
right, Freed. Well, that's what we're thinking on the Pinstripe Bowl. Did you have any other thoughts you wanted to get in here, Freed?
Yeah, recruiting's heating up. Early National Signing Day. December 20th, Miami just flipped a 5-star defensive tackle by the name of Justin Scott from the Ohio State University.
Breaking news. Amazing.
It was already brokered. But Miami will also be looking to flip another 5-star from Ohio State. That's number 1 player in the class, Jeremiah Smith, Geno's nephew. You might remember Geno Smith.
Sure.
What's that?
Is he a quarterback?
No, he's a wide receiver, but number 1 player in the class, committed to Ohio State. Miami wants him. They're trying. Not a great shot. Also, another big fish they're trying to flip is a 5-star cornerback named Ellis Robinson from Georgia, trying to get him. But regardless, Miami's got a 27-man recruiting class right now. Expect a few more flips in and out over the next couple of weeks as they look to wrap up a top 5 class in the country. I've got a whole spreadsheet that I tweeted out a few weeks ago. Shows the scholarships available to Miami players next year and how many years of eligibility they have. Shows my projections for the signing class, my projections for who's going to transfer out.
Come on.
Dude, 2 Booches at once.
Sure.
It's too much to handle.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish these. Okay,
That's all
so recruiting looks good. All right.
That's all.
All right, folks. Well, we've told you what we're thinking about the Miami Pinstripe Bowl. Freed, I know we're gonna get to this later in the bowl into the show, but I have to say that it is sponsored by Bad Boy Mowers. The
Bad boy.
Bad
What
Boy
you gonna
Mowers
do?
Pinstripe Bowl.
What you gonna do when
That
Ja'Curry
is
comes for you?
Just a silly name for a company. Good for them, I guess. All right, we've told you what we're thinking about the Canes and the future, and it's all a freaking crapshoot. The whole thing, nobody knows who's playing. We're starting our 3rd-string quarterback, and half the team is left. But we have one of the best recruiting classes in the country, so who's to say? Another 8-4, here we come, baby.
When we do our offseason projection type podcast in the offseason, dude, the hype is going to start building. I've already talked myself into us winning 10 games next year. I can't even wait to see where I'm at in August.
Well, let's see. Well, maybe by the next time we record, we'll find out if Cam Ward or somebody like that is going to come to Miami.
Oh, I forgot to talk about that. Miami looking for
the next.
We'll transfer portal. Cam Ward visited campus today. Will Howard visited yesterday. I think Miami's going to try to lock one of them up in the next few days. So hopefully by the time this episode drops, Cam Ward will have been acquired.
Love it. All right, Freed. We've told the good people what we're drinking. The ginger lemon and the orange oasis from Brew Doctor. I feel like I'm like slowing down. I have to say these are sweet. sweet booches, and I had one of the things with Brew Doctor is that the sweetness profile is like not a typical sweetness. It like has like an interesting sweetening vibe to it. And I can't
Yeah,
remember what that is.
they're certainly not of the sickly sweet variety,
No.
but just like anything else, as you have a lot of it, you start to get full. It starts to kind of settle. I've now drank about 2/3 of each of these, and I'm at the point where I know which one I prefer, and I don't want to drink any more of either. But they're both really good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our stop on the Bucha barometer as we round out the number 2 versus the number 3 seed here in the Booch Ball Playoff Classic. It is now time for the third and final segment of this show we call Booch Ball. It's time for us to tell you who we're picking.
Who we're picking?
All right, Freed. It's the New York 6 bowl games, baby, except on today's episode, we're picking the New Year's 4.
Yeah, we'll do the playoffs in our next BBC episode, which should come in about a week or two. So for now, we're going to do the other 4, and we have a very special Sediment Pick surprise coming around the bend. But Alex, we did this a couple years ago, and it was so fun. I thought we'd bring it back. It's the full name of the bowls. I want to know the sponsor, the full official nomenclature, the whole shebang. We're going to start with our first pick, and this is going to be Missouri favored by 2 points against Ohio State. This is the Cotton Bowl. Tell me, Alex, what's the name?
Well, Freed, I think for the sake of time, what I will do is I will make my pick, and then I will tell you what the name is. How about that?
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. I will be picking the Ohio State University in this one. What about you?
I'm going to be taking Mizzou, Ohio State's QBs in the transfer portal, along with a bunch of other players, and I think Mizzou's just going to want it more.
Oh, my God. Honda McCord. I forgot about that. All right. And we all know that the Cotton Bowl is still sponsored by Goodyear Tires.
Yes, but it's the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic.
Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. Okay, well, I'm going to count that as a win.
Yeah, we'll give it to you. All right, next on the board, we got Ole Miss versus Penn State. Penn State favored by 3.5 points in the Peach Bowl.
Are you asking me who I've got?
Well, I'm asking you who you got and who sponsors it.
Well, Freed. Well, what we're going to do is that we're both going to say who we got, and then I'll end by telling you who it's sponsored by.
Okay, I'll go first in that case. Oh, man. You know what? Choo-choo!
Breaking news, baby. All aboard the lane train. You already knew what it was. Let's go.
Manny Diaz took the Duke job. I don't know if you saw that, but that's some broke-to-did news.
That's good news. We'll see. We'll see. If Manny Diaz does any better than Mario does, it will be well, whatever. I don't even want to get into that. The Peach Bowl, Freed. The Peach Bowl is give me a hint. Give me a hint of like
Tasty.
Tasty. Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, baby.
It's always the Chick-fil-A
Peach Bowl. I heard that they dropped the name rights, but I guess they have it according to ESPN. So I may have been fed bad information. It was incorrect, fake news. All right, let's talk about the Group of 5 champion, Liberty. Speaking of Liberty, do you think they've ever played in the Liberty Bowl?
Liberty Dibbity Bowl.
Has there ever been a situation where a team has played in a bowl name of the same name? Because Liberty seems like the best bet.
What if a college bought a bowl? What if they used their NIL money and purchased a bowl, a New Year's 6 bowl?
Like the Canes,
had the chance.
The University of Miami Cane Connection Orange Bowl.
Orange Bowl, yeah. Now that's an idea. Mario, if you're listening, get in touch. You know where to find us, at Booch Ball.
All right, so Liberty, they're playing Oregon. Oregon favored by 17.5. That's 3 scores. That's the Fiesta Bowl. What you know about that one, homie?
Is Bo Nix playing?
Apparently, yes.
Then I'm going to, oh yeah, he wants to play as much college football as he possibly can. You know, with our Brew Doctor supporter, Dr. Rob, we have 2 Dr. Robs for the show. Dr. Robert,
You're Dr. Rob and Dental Dr. Rob.
like that song by the Beatles, Dr. Robert. All right, we got to go with the Ducks, baby. We're gonna be flapping for the Ducks, and because we dislike Liberty and all they stand for as a school administration.
Hey, speak for yourself, man. I'll get into that stuff on here. But here, what I do get into is this. Liberty's going to want this game. I don't care if it's Bo Nix or P Nix. Liberty's not losing by 3 scores. They're going to lose by 2, and they're going to cover, okay?
They're going to lose by 2 and
Capiche?
2 field goals.
Capiche? So, yeah, I got Liberty to cover.
Well, Freed, by that logic, 2 scores is 6 points, or 4 points if you had 2 safeties. That's still a score.
6 points is a 1-score ball game in my book.
Yeah, but if it's a 10-point win, is that a 2-score win?
41 minutes into this stream, Alex. Do not try to get into semantics.
Very well. I got the Ducks, Freed, and the Fiesta Bowl PlayStation.
That's an old one. This is a newer brand. It's a modern brand, very popular around the Phoenix area. A lot of rental houses out there.
Really? Rental house? Is it like a real estate company?
Kinda.
Golfing? No. I have no idea.
It's the Verbo Fiesta Bowl.
Oh, I thought Verbo was the Citrus Bowl one still. They used to be the Citrus Bowl sponsor.
Not anymore.
Interesting. Verbo is like Airbnb, right?
Yeah, it's an Airbnb competitor.
What is that? Why did they call it that? Verbo. Vacation Rentals by Owner. That's what it stands for, Freed.
Holy
Verbo.
We're just learning stuff today.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, so Verbo Fiesta Bowl, I got Oregon. Next. Oh, wait, was this the Orange Bowl? No, that was Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
So that Orange Bowl.
Now we're talking about the Orange Bowl here. Before we get into the Orange Bowl, I mean, it's Georgia and Florida State. Georgia's favored by 14 points. Florida State, give me your thoughts here on the whole shakedown that happened.
In 30 seconds or less?
Yes.
Yeah, Florida State nobody deserves to get in. You can go 13-0 just like whatever Liberty did, and they don't deserve to get in. You should give it to the teams that are the best, that you can make the best argument that they had the best season. And for that reason, Florida State's out. Does Florida State really, I don't know, there's conference implications and money, but I'm sorry. I'm just you know what? I don't care enough. I don't care enough for me to get upset on behalf of Florida State for being left out. I'm more interested, Alabama versus Michigan is a more interesting game.
Those are all fair points. In my opinion, 13-0 conference champion, they deserve to be in. I think it's honestly shameful. It's shameful what happened, them getting left out. I would have rather had them be in and get their shit kicked than have to hear their fans talk for the next decade about how they were robbed of a playoff opportunity.
UCF can talk about it, but nobody listens.
Yeah, but this is a little different. They're Power 5. They did everything they could.
I'm all for it. If Florida State has nothing to talk about,
here's my final point. Here's my final point on this.
Okay.
Even with Jordan Travis, they were not one of the 4 best teams in the country. To me, I think that's clear that even with Jordan Travis, they were number 8. So regardless, they deserved that opportunity to play for your national championship and get their shit kicked in live TV in front of everybody. Now they're going to get their shit kicked against Georgia. Well, I don't know. Are they? Let's see.
Yes, they are, Freed.
14 points.
I got Georgia. Go Dogs.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, there's too much, even against Georgia's second string.
And then if Georgia wins by 50 points, which they probably will, they'll be able to claim that they were actually robbed of a spot and that someone like Michigan had no business being number 1 when Michigan inevitably loses to Alabama. Ooh, I've said too much.
Yeah, Georgia and Alabama, probably the 2 best teams in college football. But I don't know. There's a lot of other good teams out there. It's going to be interesting. We're just going to have to watch Liberty. And see what happens. So tell me, Orange Bowl, full name, sponsor?
Are they still sponsored by a credit card?
Yes, sir.
Is it the Capital One Orange Bowl still?
You nailed it.
Hell yeah. What's in your wallet, Freed? A bunch of oranges, apparently.
Does Prudential have a bowl?
Prudential actually last year sponsored the Rose Bowl.
That's right. I knew there was something big, but this
It
year
was like
not
last
this year?
minute. I was actually talking to a family member of mine who is
Right.
fairly high ranking at the company. And this person was saying that it was like a very last minute, like thrown together deal that apparently like fell through, and they gave him like a good deal on it. So they're like,
They
sure.
have it again this year too. I just
They
looked it
do?
up.
Okay, there you go. Well, it must
And
have been so successful.
It's
It's
the
a very
CFT
prestigious
semifinal
bowl.
game. It's the Rose Bowl game presented by Prudential.
They should have sponsored the Rutgers one. I mean, their headquarters is in Newark.
The
I can
pinstripe.
see the
Prudential,
Rutgers soccer field from my building.
the Prudential Pinstripe Bowl. That just sounds regal.
Yeah, except it's Miami with their third string quarterback. But it does the Prudential Pinstripe, and then it has PP.
He's the second string QB for the people, though. And speaking of for the people, it's time for the sentiment pick. We got a special one for you. In honor of today's kombucha showdown, we're going to do the Citrus Bowl, because why not? And it turns out Cheez-It now sponsors the Citrus Bowl. That doesn't make any sense. Cheese and lemons. Ugh.
Well, citrus is also orange, and Cheez-Its are orange.
I'm the cheesiest coach. Put me in.
Cheese.
It's Iowa and Tennessee, two completely opposite type teams.
Sure.
Tennessee's favored by 8.5.
Yep.
What do you think?
I don't know. I've rooted for Tennessee this season because one of my new bartender friends is a big Volunteers fan, but they kind of like reminded me of Miami, where like there was like a decent amount of hype, and then like any game that was like supposed to be like their coming out party, they just completely flopped. Like they got their asses kicked by Missouri in one of those games. That being said, Iowa has just been like, if Iowa can cover an 8.5, like if Tennessee scored 9 points, like I'd be curious to see if Iowa could do it. That being said, I don't think the Tennessee's defense is very good. But screw it. I think Tennessee's got enough firepower and like enough pizzazz to it. So I'm gonna give it to Tennessee so that I can root for them over Iowa. I never want to have to be rooting for Iowa to score more points than somebody else.
Iowa's been pretty good this year against everybody except for Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. All the other teams they've played this year, they've handled. They've scored enough, and they don't really give up points. I don't think Tennessee is quite on the level of those other teams.
Mhm.
So I think Iowa is going to be able to at least cover, if not win. In a bowl game, you just never know how motivated teams are going to be. So I'm going to take a 2-score underdog most days of the week, unless it's against Florida State.
All right.
And with our final pick before we get into the playoff committee rankings, we're going to do our Miami Pinstripe Bowl predictions. The spread I found as of Tuesday night on the Xth day of Hanukkah is insert day here. Miami favored by 1 and a projected total of 41.5. I got my number written down. You want me to start it up?
Start us off, Reed. I got mine down too.
Okay. I think Miami was a much better team than 7-5 this year. I think Rutgers is the epitome of a 6-6 Big Ten school. Even with some players out, I think Ja'Cory Brown is going to be motivated, and the players are going to be motivated to play for him. I think Miami is going to have a decent amount of success offensively. I think this score I'm about to throw out might be on the low side. I could see it turning into a barn burner, but I'm going to go 24-14 Miami.
24-14. All right, I'm in the same ballpark, Freed. I've got 27-23.
Okay. So the Freed is at 10 plus 10, Alex at plus 4. The Booch ball spread set at 1 touchdown in Miami's favor.
One score or
best
3
Boochie.
scores if you're just counting field goals.
1 field goal and 2 safeties.
Or 4 scores if you're counting 4 safeties.
I'm going to start calling you Mr. Semantics. All right, it's time to grade out these Booches. I got my Booch scores written down too. I'm not going to lie. I was really into these in the beginning, and then they started to fade. How would you like to do this? I think since the Orange Oasis is technically the higher seed, why don't we start with the Lemon Ginger, aka the Lemon Grove?
Yes, I think that's totally fair. Would you like to start, or would you like me?
Yeah, I'll start it up. So my first few sips, and granted, I was hungry for Booch, and this is the playoffs. So I think I inherently give them a little bit of a boost when we get to the BBC playoffs. But my first couple of sips, I was firmly delicious. That faded throughout the episode. It faded as I had the Orange Oasis in comparison with it. But I had to hang on
Okay,
to
giving away your score, but keep going.
what?
I said you're giving away. Keep going, please. You're breaking news.
I'm sorry. I broke it again. I'm hanging on to the delicious threshold. Lemon Ginger, 8.0.
Really? Straight 8. Okay.
Straight 8.
All right, ginger lemon. All right. For me, the ginger lemon, one of my first ever kombuchas, really a yummy booch. This one hits the typical notes that we like to see in Booch Ball, as having a level of spiciness. We like a classic ginger lemon combination. I had a similar experience to you as far as like drinking it. The more I drank of it, and I think the warmer it becomes, the less good it tastes, kind of like similar to like a soda. And for me, the ginger lemon, actually, it's like a little too sweet, honestly. And there's, I don't know what it's like. There's 11 grams of sugar. I guess that's like, seems like a decent amount, but it just kind of, it overwhelmed me a little bit towards the end, especially as it became like a little flatter and a little warmer. So for me, I was going to give it right at that 7 would recommend threshold. But then when I thought about it, I was like, well, as far as ginger lemon goes, if I'm going to recommend one, I'm going to recommend the Health Aid ginger lemon over this one. And so for that reason, I slotted it in just below the would recommend, but firmly in the would buy it. So for me, it's a 6.9.
Okay. Yeah, we're not that far off. I just had a little bit of a playoff bonus and a super hungry for Booch bonus. But yeah,
I had that chicken before.
Yeah, I was starting my rankings in the mid 7s, and then I kind of went up with a bonus. But it's interesting you thought that did you think the ginger lemon was sweeter, or did you just think it was too sweet?
Too sweet.
Because I found the Orange Oasis to be sweeter. And it's kind of interesting because based on the calories, the lemon ginger actually has more calories per ounce. The Orange Oasis has more total sugar, but it is a 2-ounce bigger bottle. So I guess
just get to your score, Freed.
Yeah,
what do you got for the Orange Oasis, Freed?
I'm sorry, dude. Sometimes you just get lost in the sauce.
So true.
So as I was drinking these, I found myself enjoying my Orange Oasis sips more. And as I was going back and forth, I found the lemon ginger to become kind of bland in comparison to the Orange Oasis, which, as we discussed in the beginning, had more of a bark, more of a bold flavor. And I think the Orange Oasis kind of drowned out some of that sweetness from the Lemon Grove. And all I was getting was that a little bit of a bitterness almost, that what we used to call the Brew Doctor kind of the baby poop notes. I was picking up on that a little bit more with the Orange Oasis going back and forth. I think if the lemon ginger was spicier, it could be higher, but it's not. So the Orange Oasis, very Earl Grey, very Arnold Palmer-esque. I just kind of really like this kombucha. I'm going 8.3.
There you go, Freed. Yeah, Orange Oasis. It always kind of like pleasantly surprises me whenever I have one of these. And I think it's because like I'm expecting it to be more like orange heavy, but the orange ends up being like this nice little blanket of flavor that balances really well against the black tea. And I think maybe part of that is that it's blood orange and not just a typical, orange. So that balance with the lemon and black tea really provides a really nice balanced flavor profile. This is one of my favorite kombuchas. So for that reason, it is right up there in the delicious range, and I gave it just slightly above at an 8.1.
Okay. All right, so we are in similar ballparks, similar positions. We both have the Orange Oasis coming out on top in this matchup. And so it is no surprise that with our aggregate scores, we have Orange Oasis getting the nod, and they will advance to the playoff championship with a score of 8.2 over the Lemon Ginger, slotting in at 7.45.
Wait, don't you want to let the ETF5 bot have a word?
Bop.
There it is. Sorry. Cut you off. I knew you'd get to it. All right, Freed. Well, there you go. We've got the first round of the playoffs in the books. The Brew Doctor Orange Oasis advances. Thank you to Brew Doctor Rob for providing us with the kombucha. And again, Brew Doctor Rob, if you're listening, I am in need of a Snickerdoodle and a Founders Edition Raspberry Limeade. I don't know how we need to make that happen, but it's not
Worst
on my
case
Whole Foods.
scenario, I can ship you one of the 2 raspberry
No.
lemonades I have.
No,
It can explode in
cool
or
enough.
around your fridge.
We don't have to worry about that, Freed. All right. Well, Freed, from one champion to another, well, not, I guess not another. Well, from one champion, let me just say happy holidays to everybody out there. We'll have another Booch Ball recorded before the official holiday season hits, and hopefully mine will have a quarterback by then. But thank you, Boochies. We love you. We'll see you on the next one. And as always,
stay cultured. Peace. And subscribe to our show. Bitches.